Hi, everyone, and welcome to Lift Your Life. Today, my guest is none other than former England spinner Monty Panesar. Monty, how are you doing today?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank
Good.
you for having me on your show.
No problem at all. No problem at all. It's a real honor having you on, Monty, and thank you for
Pleasure.
taking the time
Thank you.
out to join me on the podcast. So
No, thank
today,
you. Thank you for inviting me on your
no,
podcast.
it's a true pleasure. It's a true pleasure. So predominantly, we're going to talk about mental health and sport and how you've sort of changed the game really about coming out and speaking openly, especially within the Punjabi community as well, talking about mental health and that you should talk about it and being open about all of that. So we're going to talk about that in a bit more detail. However, I like to take a trip down memory lane. So Monty, can I start off by asking you a few questions about, tell me a bit about your growing up in Luton?
Yeah, like cricket was introduced to me by Luton Town and Indians, which was predominantly like a Gujarati club, Hindu Gujarati. So they're the ones who kind of brought me up into cricket, and very quickly they realised I had a really good talent with spinning the ball, and I remember going to nets under 15 Bedfordshire nets at Cambridge, Sandy Lane. And there was Paul Taylor who played for Northants, and he said to me, "Why don't you try, bowling spin?" And I said, "Oh, okay, I'll give it a go." And because I couldn't get it to swing, because I wanted to be like Wazzy Makram, that was my dream, and it's
Okay.
always it was has been, yeah. So then bowled with had really long fingers, and I spun it, and it landed on a sixpence, and it was turning and bouncing, and that was it. That changed my life, So he's like my messiah, Paul Taylor, because he gave me that piece of advice which kind of changed my life. And after that, I never looked back, because I played the next game I played against Worcester under 15s at Royal Grammar School, and I took 7 for 35. And then that was it. I came back to Paul Taylor. I said, "Look," he goes, "just keep bowling spin." And then at the age of 16, played minor counties cricket with men. That was men's cricket. Got scouted with Northants very quickly. And then I played under 19s. When I was 18, I think Gautam Gambhir played for India against me. Parthiv Patel played for them. And then very quickly, I kind of played professional cricket. And then I had an option. Do I go university, or do I go continue with my career? And then at the time, ECB had like these uh, cricket centres. There are 6 crickets, and Loughborough was one of them. And Graham Dilly, he's obviously, rest in peace, not with us anymore, but he was a big fan of mine, supported me through the hill, and he kept on just pushing me through the ranks. And went to Loughborough, studied computing and management there, and then went to the academy with Rod Marsh, who was there from Australia. And he said to me, he gave me very good advice. He goes, "Monty, you'll catch up. Your fielding and your batting probably isn't as great, and you're not athleticism, isn't quite there. But I reckon, you'll catch up later." So while everyone else was sort of ahead of me in terms of fitness, but then 2 years later, his advice was spot on. I came back, I finished my degree. I remember Usman Afzal, who's played for Northants. You know, at the time, they lost so many games. There's 8 games to go, second half of the season. Wickets were turning, and he goes, "Why don't you give Monty a go?" He's a young guy, very keen. Really loves his cricket, just loves playing, loves bowling. And I took 8 games. I think took about 48, 50 wickets. That was it. Quickly got into the main limelight, and it was easy for me to get into that England team because it was a successful team. So
But what
even if I
made
had
you,
flaws,
Monty, what made you from the very start, from the very beginning, what made you go into cricket? Were you always like a cricket
no,
fanatic
my
as a
dad,
kid?
my dad used to play cricket, and I used to go with him
Okay.
on a Saturday, and I used to score as a 10-year-old. So I used to do the scoring,
Okay.
and he was an all rounder. He used to whack the ball and be a good medium pace bowler. So yeah, cricket. Like my dad's mates were all around cricket and everything. So yeah, that's how I got into cricket.
Okay. And then did you have that? So the question I'm going to ask is around when you got selected for England, that must have been a massive moment, as in for for the family, for everyone. What was
Yeah,
sort
because
of the
I
feeling?
was, yeah, I was part of the Nanak Sahib Guru Sikh Temple, which is in Coventry, Foleshill Road. So I was
Yeah,
part of that Sangat, right?
yeah,
And I was very much understood voluntary work and all of that. But our teachings then, and my Sikh friends who were around me said, "Look, Monty, whatever you do in life, whatever goal you reach, you need to celebrate it and celebrate it to the max. So that was already embedded in me, like around my sort of my dad used to, work hard, he say, but celebrate your successes, you know, don't ever forget that. And even my friends used to say that to me, even, people around my Sikh community, like me, you're Sikh Punjabi, so you understand what Sangat, what I mean by that.
Yeah, of course.
Congregation of people, So I was brought up to celebrate success. Any little bit. If I got an A in a homework, celebrate it. Small thing, big thing, whatever. Have your favorite drink, or get your mom to make your favorite food, and do something, but you're always celebrating success. And that's where the celebrations came from. It was my from the Nanak Sahib Gursikh temple, the teachings around that, our sort of Baba Mia Singh ji, at the time, that's where I was, that's where I come from. Like they who named me Madhusudan as well. Like people say to me, "What's the real name?" I go Madhusudan. They go, "That's a Hindu, it's a Hindu name." I said, "I don't know, mate. That's what I got called." So that's what it is.
So I take it at that Gurdwara, because we know that Gurdwara very well, because I just live locally. I just live in Leamington, so it's very famous, very popular. And I know there's coaches and stuff that go down regularly. So you must have been part of that, where you've ended up going there from a young age, which is fantastic. So you get to the point where you've been. I mean, like I said, it must be such an honour for playing for England. And did you have that sort of point where there was some of your family sort of thinking, "Oh, you're going to go and play for England, and you're going to play against India," or anything like that? That whole Patiala House kind of movie kind of scenario. Did you have any of that?
Look, I think my parents always said, "Look, whatever goals you want in life, go and get them. We'll give you the freedom to do it. As long as you bring back results. As long as we see you being successful." So that was it, really. And I think my parents always were hardworking, but they were very sort of open-minded. They're very sort of like, go and get your goals. Whatever you want in life, go and chase your goals. We're not going to stop you that. And that freedom helped me to like really sort of then just chase my dream, to play for England.
So talking about playing for England, let's talk about 2006. We're talking about the India tour. We're talking about Nagpur. You seem like a very humble kind of guy. Like, yeah, it's fine. I got chosen for England. It's a big thing. And especially for someone from our community, from the Punjabi community, reaching that high level, massive respect for you for that. So talk to me a bit about that tour. I want to know a bit more about that tour.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you. I never thought I would play in that first Test match. I thought I'd be there just to get some experience. I signed a 2-year contract with Northants. I thought I'd get a bit more experience, go back to Northants and improve my game further. But I think when I was training really hard, and like, I remember my dad used to always say to me, he goes, "Whatever you do, just do it with 100%. If you're going to practice 100%. If you're going to commit to if you want to play for England, then 100% just give it all." And that's what I did when I was, at the time when I trained every day. I was to just train and give my 100% in training, train really hard. And that's it. I said, I'll just give my 100% every day. I never thought Andrew Flintoff was going to pick me. He obviously picked me because he thought I was an attacking spinner. We wanted someone to take wickets. And I was quite attacking as a spinner. And that was it, really. I played and then bowled to Tendulkar a few balls. I was a little bit nervous. Then tried to see if we can get one to turn, went on with the arm. Umpire gave it out. And that was that moment, that teaching that I had as a youngster from my Sangat, from my Sikh friends, from my community where we used to, seva together. It was that moment. I was like, this is my moment where I've got to celebrate it. And, the teachings that I got about celebrating your successes, I was like, I'm just going to go with it now, man. And I'm just going to celebrate it and max it as much as I can, because this is a dream come true, like playing against, the greatest probably cricketer ever, one of the greatest sportsmen ever in the world. And to get him out, I'm celebrating effectively how great he is, to be honest. Yeah. And obviously I'm celebrating the moment, what a beautiful moment I had to experience. So that's why I'm always very thankful for that. grounding that I had, like I had an identity. I knew, I was part of a let's say, a gurdwara or a community, and they gave me really good teaching about celebrating your success, and that's where that celebration came from.
Your celebrations have always been iconic, so they've always been full of passion and full of energy. I love that, and I think you're known for that, for your celebrations. It was just
yeah, exactly. And that's why even my dad, when he goes 100% celebrate, that's hopefully he's happy with the celebration. I'm giving him 100% there.
I think you are.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So moving on very quickly. So I want to go on to 2012. Another iconic moment. Going over to India to win the series. Massive moment for England. Massive moment for you.
Yeah, big moment. I always felt I was proving myself, when Swanee came onto the scene, because he was a better batsman, better fielder. But I was always going to be the second spinner. And then when there was a turning wicket, like I was probably at my best then. And we was quite lucky then, actually, because Duncan Fletcher kind of said, I want to produce a turning track. So a week before, he kind of got a Ranji Trophy match on the same pitch. And it was a turning pitch. So effectively, on day one, it was like a fifth day. And then by the end of the test match, it was playing like on an eighth or a ninth day pitch, really. And the ball was turning and bouncing. And like I bowled a real dream ball, to Sachin in the first innings. And he looked to bowl, tilt his head and play it towards the mid-wicket. And I hit his off stump. It was just probably the best wicket I could ever got. But it was just, again, it was that, for every spinner, it's like, you want to go to India and you want to win a series and bowl well. And that was that kind of my moment where I thought, as a spinner, I was pleased that I was able to hone my craft and able to be, to be successful on conditions where Indian batsmen are really good against spin.
So do you think that was your most iconic moment? What's your most iconic moment, do you think, in cricket?
Look, I think the finest hour was at Cardiff with the bat. I'm not known for my batting. Me and Jimmy Anderson saved a test match, and even now that's like comes into the top 10 best test matches ever in England. When they had their 1000th test match, it came in the top 10. And it was just, I didn't realize the impact it would have, because following test match, England won. Freddie took 5 wickets at Lord's, the famous knee, and, England were on momentum. But every big series is a catalyst. There's a shift of momentum. There's like something happens and there's a shift. And that was the shift in that Cardiff, where Australians couldn't bowl us out. And Ricky Ponting was probably thinking, I don't know if my team is that good. And we came when he picked the team at the Oval, he didn't pick an off spinner, Nathan Hurwitz, who played at Cardiff in the first Test match, because he had doubts. He goes, he didn't really bowl him out. Maybe I won't play him in the final Test, and that was a big difference, because I reckon if he played, England probably would have won that, and then maybe Australia would have won the series. So that moment is even talked about even now. A lot of people talk about it. It's because I'm not known for my batting. I'm known for my bowling. So that's probably my finest hour in an England shirt.
Nice. Okay. So I wanted to go into a bit more detail now about mental health and how it affected you. So we're looking at probably, is it around 2013 where things started to shift a little bit? Can you talk me through a bit about that, please?
Yeah. Look. The thing was, right, I think at that time, I think sportsmen have this mentality of, no pain, no gain. They have a high threshold on pain. Like I broke my ankle, when I was supposed to go dancing on ice, and I didn't even go the first week because I broke it. But I went through the pain, 18 months of the pain of, the mobility of it and trying to get it back again. I think sportsmen have this, mentality, just going through pain, and they just don't moan about it. Don't tell anyone and just get on with it. But that sometimes can be a weakness, because one of, mental health issues, like loneliness, is actually the breeding ground for mental health issues. So, they say the loneliness of a long distance runner, the loneliness of an athlete, once you're training really hard, you suddenly break off with the group because you become so good. There's a sense of like, if you're in a great place, it's a great place to go. But if you're not in a good place inside, there's a strong denial. So that denial gets stronger and stronger, because you hit the gym, you keep pumping the weights to pump the endorphins, but underneath there's something that needs to be talked about. But I'm refusing it because I'm in denial. I'm not thinking, no, it's okay. I was able to lift the piano up a steady hill and I can keep doing it. But eventually what happens, that hill or that the grading gets too steep and suddenly you can't lift it and you just break down. You break down, you collapse. And you have two ways of dealing with it. You either fight or flight response. So flight is, hide away, you scare and you're in your room, locked and it's hot and sunny outside, but inside you, there's a huge cloud in you. Or there's the other way, fight response, which I am. I was like lighting fires everywhere with everyone, arguing this or that, or, this, or then, effectively like a, walk-in sort of fireball where people can see me like, oh my God, he's on fire and he's fighting with everyone. And even family and friends, man, they're like, look, if I now get close to Monty, then I'll end up burning my hands. I can't afford to do that. So then you end up becoming really alone. Everything shuts off with you because no one wants to get close to you because they know that if they get close to you, they'll get burnt as well. So they only want to be around you when you cool down, once the anger or the whatever's inside it building up like a volcano erupts. And you have to let that erupt yourself. And no one's there to pick it up for you. And once you let all that lava, let's say, pour out and let everything cool down, then people will come and help you and all that. But at the time when it's heat, no one wants to be near you because they don't want to get burnt themselves. And I can understand that. And that's why you have to, get some professional advice. Go and speak to someone, who understands this, who understands how to, calm things down. So yeah, I went on medication, I was on medication during the Ashes when I put on weight, but motivation wasn't quite there, wasn't quite feeling myself. So I was just like, I can't, again, that mentality of like, right, sportsman's mentality, right, kicks in. I know I'm in pain. I know my mind is confused. I can hear the white noise, but inside me, there's a core pain threshold. I'm going to fight it without medication. But the problem, I feel there's a lot of people out there who won't do it, who won't go through the hard pain graft like I would go through because they rather just take the medication because it shuts down all the noise. So you just numb the pain, but it's all there.
Do you think it's what the word I'm looking for? Do you think that what was it? Was it a numerous amount of things that caused this, or do you think this is something that's happened from childhood that sort of built up over a period of time where you started to suffer? What do you think?
No, look. I think it's one performance related. So if it takes me 60 balls to get one wicket, then every 60 balls I'm going to get that endorphin rush, right? And that endorphin rush will increase my serotonin, everything, and I'll feel great. Suddenly, it takes me 90 balls to get one wicket. So it takes me 180 to take 2 wickets. So when I've taken 2 wickets at 180 balls, normally in a good place, I would have taken 3 because 60, 120, 180, right?
Yeah.
That's when suddenly you don't get the endorphin rush is longer. The serotonin, after 60 balls, body's saying, where's the serotonin rush? It's not happening. It's got to be after another 30 balls. And that gets longer and longer and longer. And then suddenly you're fighting that rather than accepting that actually I'm doing C, B, C grade performances. I'm not performing at my A grade. But it's difficult to accept because you're fighting against that, right? And that's why you got to talk. That's why I think talking is the best thing. Like if someone asks me now, I say, when you don't feel great, immediately find someone to talk to. I will say to you, forget the medication, forget anything else. Do you have 5 people right now you can talk to if you don't feel great? You can pick up the phone and have a chat. And there's a lot of people out there who say, no, I don't. Then that is a clear sign that your relationships with people is not strong enough. So build on your relationships. Another thing I say to people, when you're successful in life, you're so busy. Everyone says, oh, how is life? Yeah, I'm on the gravy train and diary is completely, packed. Always make time for your friends. Monday night football, go somewhere where you congregate together, take them out for dinner, go for a walk, do whatever every fortnight, give them a call, say, hey, mate, come over, let's watch a T20 or whatever. Please don't forget this. Make that time for your friends so you connect like a meeting. Don't just think because I'm so busy in life and everything is great, because in a couple of years' time, once things get really tough for you, you want someone to
Not
speak
always
to.
it's not always going to be.
Yeah,
It's not, there's going to be times when it's not going to be great. I mean, like
yeah. So
myself
you need,
with with like getting injured and stuff like that. There's times when I've been at the top and feeling great, just like you've been at the top feeling great. But there's going to be times when there's low times, or where you're not performing, or there's things that are happening in your personal life that's affecting everything else. So you need to have that balance, don't you? And you need to make sure you take time out to ensure that you've got people to talk to. But do you think, Monty, that did you feel like you just mentioned now to me that you was on medication during the Ashes? Were you able to speak to your fellow teammates or people within your team? Do you feel like
yeah,
you
like
could have got
me,
some more support or not? Or
yeah, my doctor at the ECB doctor knew everything, what was going on. So I had so much support there. And then I said to my doctor, I said, look, I want to do it without medication. And then I spent time in Australia after the Ashes, in Campbelltown, and I played some cricket there. And I had the physio there, and the physio said to me, he goes, look, Monty, we're going to tackle this without medication, and you're going to write a list of things to do that make you happy. So when your mood is a little bit down, go and do that activity just to lift your mood. And then that's how I did it. I used to have my 10 activities. I was like, oh, I don't feel great today. Watch a funny movie. Okay, call a friend. Have I done my exercise? What's my diet like? Have I done a bit of reading? Nice time to do reading. Have I done my yoga stuff? And they were like my antidepressant tablet. That was my medication.
your coping mechanisms, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Basically.
my coping. Yeah, coping mechanism. But I had a network of people around me. I like a physio, would have coach, have teammates, so they all know, like, engage my mood. Sometimes I think the difficulty is like, what if you don't have them sort of people or support around you? How do you deal with it then? That's a bit. Sometimes I find some people, they just work 9 to 5 jobs, but they may not have the help at their company, to help them through it. So where do they get help?
That's what I mean. I think for your average Joe like myself, like, it was a case of everything come to a point where I realized that I actually needed to seek help. And it's actually my wife that actually said to me, look, you need to seek some kind of help. And I was quite embarrassed about it. Like you were saying, mentioning about, being a sportsman, you sort of block everything out, don't you? Especially with my background as a powerlifter, I'm known as a power lifter, lift weights, strong, physically I'm strong. So I have that persona where I can't sort of talk about, things like I'm not in a good place mentally.
Yeah, so naturally, like even me, I'm into I don't do it as to your extreme, but going to the gym and stuff. So I'm naturally going to think, oh, he's a power lifter, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
There's a natural judgment. I've already made my judgment on you, Bally. I already know that you're fine. There's not many power lifters who are top of their game.
Yeah.
He's fine. So then suddenly, how did you find help then?
Yeah. So in the end, it was a case that I've always been the guy that'd go out and, like, I'm quite a loud personality. So, like, I'd organize like nights out with lads and everything. They say nobody knew, nobody had a clue. Nobody had a clue what was actually going on at home. And it got to the point where I was like, I didn't know what the hell was going on with me. I was just thinking, what the hell is going on with me? Why am I feeling like this? Why am I down? Everything's okay. I'm happy. Everything's fine. But why am I feeling like this? But it was just things that had happened since my injury. It was just killing me off inside. And I was breaking down at home. And the only person that knew that I was breaking down, that I had the confidence, luckily I had that person, was my wife. And then when it became more regular, she then turned around and said, look, you need to seek help. And then even when I went to go and seek help, I went to the doctors and I just blagged it and turned around and said, I've got an injury, my shoulder. And it's only because as I turned around, and I've mentioned this story quite a few times, as I turned around and about to walk out the door, he must have clocked either from my face that there was something else. And he turned around and he goes, are you sure you're okay? And then I turned around and said, actually, no, I'm not. And then he sort of gave me the options of, you've got the medication or you've got the therapy side of things. And I chose the holistic side of things. I went down the therapy route and so on and so forth. And I came out the other end. But all the people that I sort of talk about is I went down that route, but that doesn't mean that I've had that therapy and I've moved forward, and that's it now. I'm a new man, and I'm always going to be happy. I still have my moments, but now I
Right.
know how to. Now I know how to cope with them. Now I know what I need to do to actually cope with it, and talking to people and being open and honest about it. Hence the reason why I've started all this, to try and push the word out there. Because what would what are your thoughts on, as in the Punjabi community, as in the Sikh community specifically, on, I know there's loads of charities and stuff out there now that do some great work talking about mental health and so on and so forth. But let's say go back 15, 20 years ago, I don't think that support was there. So did you feel like you had that support from your community, or was it a case of sometimes you might turn around and say to one of your mates, oh, do you know what, I feel a bit down, and you might turn around and say, don't worry about it, have a glassy, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, look. I'll be honest with you. It was actually my parents. I'll be honest with you. It was like my mom knew and my parents knew that something's not right with him, and there'll be even times that they would say, "Oh, he's a bit heated today, so let's not take him to the family function, or you know, to the wedding or during the summer, or someone's like Sikh part or something like that, because he's gonna like, we can't trust that he'll be all right." So there'll be times where I'll be like, okay, yeah, I'll leave it, I won't go because maybe I'm not in a great place. But they say that my mom got in touch with, my mom's good friends with Lord Singh's wife, and I think Kamleji, auntie, and my mom got in touch with her, and her son-in-law is a doctor he's a cardiologist at London St Thomas's Hospital. And my mom's just casually going. She knew that there's something wrong, but he's not going to listen to us because he's like going to find it a bit like shameful that something's wrong with him and stuff like that. So they go in a gentle manner. They go, "Why don't you go see the doctor and just talk to him? Whatever's going through your mind." Because sometimes people, he's a Sikh guy, he's a doctor, and he can help you. And I went and I had a chat with him, and he said to me in half an hour, he goes, "Look, something's wrong with you. You're not right, and I need to, you need help. Monty, like, listen to me, you need help, like, I'm here to help you." And then I realized, and then the journey kind of started. And then I realized, okay, I need to get some help. And then I started to like get rid of that, stop being, instead of being in denial, started to like, talk about these kind of things. And I had close friends around me. I had a really, close friend. And they even said to me that they would like sit there and listen to me for like 2 hours just rambling on, just chit chat. And then afterwards they were just like, they knew that, something wasn't right with him, but he would just keep talking away for a couple of hours. But then my friends were like, but that's the mechanism, we're helping through it. And then afterwards, even I realized, I was like, I can't let my friends go through that where I just keep chatting away nonsense and they're there just to keep listening. I think I need to go and see a professional person and get that help and get that stuff. And that's when, I kind of realized that, I wasn't shameful of it. I don't really care less about what the community thought, because, it's just, what, as long as my parents are all right, I didn't really care. So I just went through the whole journey. And then there was times, I started to learn about, therapy and different things. And then in the end, once I, went through the slightly medication, talking therapy and all that, I made up my mind that I'm going to use that sportsman psyche, no pain, no gain, whatever that white noise is, whatever that, feeling is in the morning, you feel like crap. I'm just going to get through it. And then eventually it gets less and less and less. And then suddenly it just stops, and I had that moment when I was at Northants. I went to Northants one season because 2017, I think it was. First day of the season, I sat down and I just looked around and I was like, oh my God, it's like, I'm not paranoid, I feel like everything's normal. And all my teammates were looking around and they're just walking by, and it was that was that moment I realized that actually everything's fine now, because I was a little bit paranoid, and that paranoia was just gone when I sat down at Northants. Yeah.
So that paranoia you mentioned, that must, I've been through that sort of, that paranoia kind of things, paranoia, anxiety. It's probably the worst thing that anyone can really suffer with and go with. But I'm so glad that you're in a good place and you're talking about it openly, and more people need to talk about that. around mental health as well. So, Monty, tell us what's going on in your life now. So you've gone through this amazing journey with regards to your cricket, battling mental health, and now I understand you are aspiring to be a sports journalist.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm studying a master's at St. Mary's University in international sports management, and just got a podcast coming up soon called Monty Meets. So yeah, just trying to get into that world now because I was always looking for a work environment, workplace which I feel a bit at home, and this is where I feel probably more at home. I like working under pressure. I like the environment being around under pressure because that's what I did when I played. So meeting deadlines, being under pressure, creating stories, writing about things in a different way, giving a different perspective on things, having a voice. The recent Ollie Robinson incident that happened yesterday, I was on Good Morning Britain, Jeremy Ryan showed Court Sports. So I was like, people wanted to know my opinion. And then I like, being the trailblazer, like that's what they call it, any hot topic is like, right, we want to know Monty's take on this. And I like to set that trail because I think I find it quite natural, to be the first person to speak about it. And I find that, I quite like that. That's my kind of thing.
Give me your thoughts on the Super League.
Yeah, well, the Super League. Yeah, look, the Super League. I reckon the Super League will get formed at some point where they will break off and they'll pay the fines because the owners are looking to make somewhere around £100 million per game. That's what it is. So they eventually will break off and they'll find a way of how to break off from it. But at this time, the way they went about it, suddenly said, oh, we want a Super League. I think the owners just tried to test the waters. They said, let's do it this way. Let's see what the reaction is. If it gets a bit too heated, we'll all back off and then we'll do it in a different way because there's a lot of money to be made. Making £100 million per game, the owners are definitely going to be looking to see if they can get that up and running.
And Brentford are coming up to the Premiership, which I saw you were very proud about.
Yeah, because I'm an intern at Brentford as well. So I'm part of the content team and I'm learning how to video edit stuff and put things together. I was really pleased that they're in the Premiership. It'd be nice if I can, if it can get extended with Brentford, an intern to something a bit more than that. That'd be great. Just Brentford playing against Arsenal, Man City, Man United. That's really exciting, that'd be awesome.
Brilliant. Okay. Perfect. Monty, I really, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for talking about everything. And again, it was quite a sensitive topic around mental health, but you've just blown it out of the water and just been so open about it. And there's so many more people that need to do exactly the same. So Monty, an absolute pleasure having you on my podcast. And thank you so much. And I would like to wish you all the best in the future with everything.
Well, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, for everyone tuning in and listening, and thank you for having me on your podcast. And I wish you all the best with your powerlifting and other ventures in life too.
Cheers, Monty. Thank you. All the best.
Cheers. Thank you, mate.
Bye now. Bye.